You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Today, this breakfast isn't just breakfast. It might be the first McDonald's breakfast you're having at McDonald's again. This lunch might be a weekly tradition you hadn't had in weeks. And this dinner might be the first one you bought for not just you in a while. Whatever this order is for you, McDonald's will be here to take it.
Get more of the chicken you love with a delicious McChicken sandwich for $1. And for an extra buck, add a refreshing Dr. Pepper. Dining rooms are starting to reopen in certain communities at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
A new year means it's time for a new home network that can keep up. With Cox Internet, you have the speed and coverage your family needs to stay connected. You'll enjoy Cox's fiber-based hybrid network with options for fast upload and download speeds. And if your household has lots of connected devices, Panoramic Wi-Fi may be the perfect fit thanks to its additional control features. Plus, with advanced security on Panoramic Wi-Fi, you'll know each connected device is securely protected 24/7. A whole world of connectivity is yours with Cox Internet. Learn more at Cox.com.
We got to ease into it. Mellowness, that's what I'm talking about. It's Sunday night. I'm your humble host, Alan Ray. How about that? Man, everything's out of adjustment. What am I doing here? It was a good week. A lot of sitting in a car, but also a lot of beaches. A lot of cruise ship. You know, Nassau is a crap hole. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you've gone to Nassau in the Bahamas and you thought it was great and you were all excited about it. The west side of Michigan has beaches that are a million times better. You go to South Haven, you go to Ludington, you go to Holland. And excuse me for making noise. I get my microphone. Everything's out of adjustment. Nobody touches this studio. I don't know. Maybe Anthony did a show last week while I was gone. I don't know. But welcome to Sunday night. I am your humble host, Alan Ray. It is Sunday night. It's Sunday night with Alan Ray. If you're in the chat room, thank you. Thank you for joining me. A lot of you, I know it's Father's Day. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's with family. My kids checked in with me. My daughter, she sent me via email an Omaha steak package, which we're going to be doing steaks 4th of July. That was my goal. I was like, okay, I'm going to order these and I'm going to do them for the 4th of July. That's how this is going down. Hey, if you're hanging around the interwebs and it's 9:07 on a Sunday night, get in the chat room at www.klrnradio.com. You'll be joined by distinguished people, gentlemen like GR, Orty, myself, Mike, Evo, Commando, Rex. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been a good day. It's been a good week. It's been a good last 2 weeks, actually. For those of you that don't know, those of you that listen, that put up with my crap week after week, last Monday, we went, I guess it was the beginning of the month. Man, this month's like halfway through. We took off to North Carolina, to Wilmington, North Carolina. And then we made our way all the way, I mean my wife and I, we made our way all the way down the East Coast to Miami, where we caught a cruise ship and took like a 4-day, 3-night cruise to the Bahamas, Coco Cay, Nassau, etc. And came back, got out of Miami, drove straight up 75, and went back home. And it was a good time. It was a great time. I've never been on a cruise ship before. I didn't know what to expect. Fortunately, the person who actually prepared this cruise for us, who got the rooms for us and everything, he is a freelance booking agent for, travel and stuff. And what it was is a lot of my wife's classmates. And it was kind of their impromptu 40th class reunion. And I know a lot of them. One of them was in our wedding, and her husband actually went to school with me. And they're great people, really wonderful people. We had a great time. And I think if it wouldn't have been for the group we were with, I don't think I would have had quite as good a time. It was all right. It was fun. It was interesting being on a big boat going across the water. But, I mean, we would all go do our own things during the daytime. At nighttime, we would come back. We would gather for dinner and beverages. And it would be like 11, 12 o'clock before we wound down, go to bed, wake up the next morning, rinse and repeat. And they were a great group of people, no attitudes, just a lot of fun. And it made it more interesting because we kind of hung out together at nights. We had a good time. Even did karaoke, which I've only done karaoke like one other time in my life. And I kind of surprised some of those people because some of them, they don't know me. They don't know me from anything, and they look at my wife, it's like, I didn't know he sang. It's like, I don't, but I fake it. But anyways, and one thing I told you, I promised you I was going to do. One thing I did, being the radio nerd that I am, is I bought a CB for the sole purpose of testing it out, going down to Miami and back with a CB going pretty much the whole time, just to see it. Does anybody use CB anymore? Does anybody? Are truckers still on Channel 19? If you scan the channels, do you still get people? Yes and no. Yes and no. First of all, and then I'm going to put this in chat. A link to Amazon with what I took down with me. It's the Uniden Pro 538 HHF, brand new technology because CB, the FCC's, has declared that you can now use FM mode for CB. So this has AM, FM mode. It's just this tiny little thing. And in fact, I bought a kit that came with an external battery, 2 external battery holders, one for rechargeable batteries and one for regular AA batteries. The rechargeable ones you put in there, you can recharge from outside. And it lasts a long time with rechargeable batteries. And unlike a lot of your batteries that come with the usual handhelds and stuff, if these things start going bad, you just recycle them. You go down to the store and you buy new AA batteries and load it back up, and it's like having a brand new battery. But the Uniden, it's a Uniden Bearcat Pro 538 HHFM. And I've got a little gizmo that I bought from MFJ before they went under. It's just a little device that allows you to take the antenna off of the unit and put it on the outside of your car so you can get some range. Because if you're inside of the car with an antenna, cars are pretty much Faraday cages for the most part. You don't get any signals. And I did that. And, of course, being the nerd that I am, the first thing I did was I replaced the antenna with the HYS SD XP70 antenna. And on the way down, of course, we went over to the East Coast, went down. There was a little bit of traffic, not much, just a little. The radio performed wonderfully. It scans nice. It's very simple to operate. It takes you about 5 minutes to figure out what all the little shiny buttons do. On the way back, however, a ton of traffic. As to be expected, you get up into the hills. We were going straight through Georgia, straight through Tennessee, straight through Kentucky, and there's a lot of hills, a lot of truck drivers all ganged up together. And there was a lot of traffic on Channel 19, made a few contacts. Here's the thing I noticed, though. Now, I am a ham radio operator, and ham radio is kind of self-regulating, self-policing, not a lot of swearing, not a lot of, language that's... I wouldn't say not a lot of. It's just frowned upon. It still happens. CB radio is the wild, wild west. Okay, you don't have to have a license to be on it. You just get on it, get one, go down the road. You're only supposed to run 4 watts. But there was a butt ton of traffic. And Mike, hardly any truck drivers even own CB radios, but there's still quite a few out there. And we got into a bunch of them that had them. And they were pretty funny. We were going through the hills, and a couple of times they were pointing out where the police are and stuff like that. So there was actually some traffic out there, and they were pretty good people, and I made some contacts. And it's a shame. It really is a shame, because public radio, CB radio, citizens band is what it means. It's such a good, portable, easy to use medium that is just not taken advantage of. And the only people that are on the regular bands, it's a 40 channel radio, are these morons. There's like 10, 12 of them that are all over the United States running 1,500, 2,000 watt units. And they're pouring out spurious admissions and like on 2-3 channels that are whack. They talk like idiots. They act like idiots. They are idiots. And the FCC will not do anything about them. The FCC it's just a waste of their time. It's sad because for a local, couple of miles away type medium, if you want to get you and 2 or 3 or 4 friends, these new CB radios with FM are pretty bomb. They're pretty nice. And they do make contacts, and they do work quite well. I'm glad I bought it. I will be figuring out a way to get some other people involved and just mess around with it, old time. But now that the FCC has approved, CB radios up till now has been AM only. And now they've approved it for FM, so it's a little more powerful in the FM setting. And you can make better contacts. It's like having a little HF rig, like one of my little ham radio rigs, except it's, 11 meter citizens band. So that's kind of cool. And in the Uniden Bearcat Pro 538 HHFM, it's a chameleon. It came with a little gizmo that you could plug right into your cigarette lighter, and with an external antenna mount right on that. It's kind of inconvenient to have that in unless, especially in newer vehicles, because the newer vehicles, the cigarette lighters or the power outlets are not really in great places. In my truck, it worked out really well because I tested it in my truck. But we rented a vehicle, and it was a little Jeep Renegade. And it was kind of inconvenient to have it on there, but it still worked. And I was still able to hear it, talk to people, stuff like that. And by the way, and let me tell you one other thing. I don't mean to just go on about my vacation or anything, but the other thing is I discovered Buc-ee's. Then the first time, Kevin's in the chat. Hello, Kevin. The first time my wife and I went into a Buc-ee's, we both looked at each other and had the same reactions. Like, oh my God, what is this place? I thought it was just a gas station with a couple of, no. Buc-ee's is like the ultimate travel road trip stop place. I couldn't believe it. And not only that, but the sandwiches there. They got brisket and pulled pork and stuff like that. Absolutely. I mean, you can't even name me a drive-through restaurant, a fast food restaurant that has better sandwiches than Buc-ee's. You can't. My God, were those good. Any type of road trip snack you can think of, coffee, beverages, about anything you can think of, they had them there. And the bathrooms were spotless. Everyone we went to, the bathrooms were spotless. Fell in love with the place. I mean, it was like, wow, these things need to be everywhere. It was kind of cool. So I'm now a big, I'm a Buc-ee's fan. Yeah, if I see one, I'll stop just because they deserve my money. The problem with Buc-ee's is yeah, they charge a little more for everything, but you pay it because it's there. And if you're on the road, you want snacks and everything. Yep, right, Mike, love me some Buc-ee's. And they were consistent. We stopped at 3 different ones, and every one of them was like walking into the same store. That is the key to success right there. Number one, they were spotless clean. There was always somebody cleaning. Number two, they were stocked to the hilt with anything you could think of for a road trip. They were very convenient. All 3 of them were right off the freeway. And they have, yes, you're right, Mike, their gas was a little bit cheaper than anybody around them. And we hit all 3 of them during the week. And we were talking to one of the managers, this place is kind of cool. And he was telling me, he goes, yeah, this is actually not crowded. If you come in here on a Saturday or Sunday, it's like 3 times as busy. I went, wow. Okay, well, and that's the other thing. A lot of people. I am not a people-y person anymore. There's a lot of people. And yes, GR, they were hiring people at the one Buc-ee's. They actually had a big lit billboard, one of those digital billboards. And they had what they paid people. They say hiring now. And they say, floor cleaners, $18 an hour. Assistant manager, 6 figures. This is good paying jobs. I wouldn't want to work there because it's just way too people-y and it's I don't know. I don't do public stuff anymore. But yeah, very high paying jobs. Everybody there seemed pretty happy. Heck, man, I might go be a greeter there if I retire someday, if they build one close enough. So yeah, big Buc-ee's fan now. So that was kind of cool. So overall, the entire vacation was pretty cool. I did get to tour the USS North Carolina, the Battleship North Carolina, not USS, Battleship North Carolina. And that was neat. And it gave me a whole new perspective on what our sailors went through in World War II. That thing was in the Pacific Ocean, the Pacific Theater during World War II. And I was all over it. I crawled all over that thing. It was great. Went up into the turrets, which, they are huge on the outside. The guns are huge. The turrets are huge. You get up in there, and it is cramped. I couldn't even imagine being in there and doing my job. It's and I don't get claustrophobic. These things were claustrophobic. And it was a hot day, and those things were scorching hot. Couldn't even imagine being in Iwo Jima, bombing the place, and being in that big, giant pillbox. And then I went below deck, all 4 stories down. It was the bomb. Kevin said he went there as a teenager. Yeah, standing upright was a challenge. There's places in there that are just absolutely cramped. I asked my wife, I was like, you going on there with me? She goes, nope, I'm not even interested. And then when I got down to like the 3rd level underneath, I was like, man, thank God she didn't come down here. She'd be freaking out right now because some of them places were just tight. Even for me, I'm only 5'11". I'm bending over, trying to keep from banging my head on stuff. But it was great. But I just sat there and tried to imagine being 4 levels down on a battleship during the heat of battle, not knowing what's going on above, not knowing if something's about to hit you and this is going to be your last moment, but just focusing on your job and doing your job and ignoring everything out, having to tune everything out. Gave me a whole new respect for our Navy, especially World War II. I've got I have relatives that were in the Navy during World War II, and the Navy during Korea, Vietnam. And it gave me a whole new respect for them, especially on a battleship. That was a great experience. And yes, the radio room, total nerd fest. All the tube radios and all that stuff. I mean, and it was a really good, well-presented. And, you know, they're never going to get that smell of machine shop oil, grease, and gunpowder out of there. I mean, it hasn't seen service in a long time, and it still smells like that below. It was great. I loved it. And then from there, we went on down to, we just cruised on down, outskirted Charleston, landed in a couple of different places. And by the time we got to Daytona Beach, rented a hotel room, hung out at Daytona Beach for a day and a half, hung out on the beach. Nobody in Daytona Beach. Absolutely dead. I mean, few people walking around. The water splashing, had a great time. And then right on down to Miami, spent the night in Miami, got up the next morning, boarded the ship, took off. Now, I'll tell you something about a cruise ship. If you ever decide to go on a cruise that goes to the Bahamas, goes outside of the United States, take the time to get a passport. I know they say you don't have to have them, but I'm telling you right now, get a passport. Get a passport, pay the money, take the time. Because when we got back to Miami and got off the cruise ship, first thing they did, when they got you back over onto the port and everything, you went down these stairs and they said, okay, if you've got a passport, go to your right. If you don't, go to your left. The line on the left was people that had their driver's license and birth certificate. Okay. Probably 1,000 people or more in that line. The line on the right with your passport, you just walked up, you flipped open your passport, you stuck your face in a thing that gave you the green light if it agreed with your picture, and away you went. We were out of Miami within the hour after leaving the ship. That was worth every penny as far as I'm concerned, because let's face it, Miami is a loony bin. Miami's crazy. Miami's the craziest city I've ever been in. I thought Nashville, Tennessee was bad drivers. I thought Detroit would kill you if you didn't keep up. No, Miami is horrible. Give me Detroit any day. Give me downtown Detroit any day over Miami. Screw that. Next time we go on a cruise, I'm flying in. That's just the way it's going to be. So that was my vacation. It was a good time. And Nassau, don't get me wrong, Nassau was cool. A lot of history in Nassau. A lot of history. The Queen Steps, the forts that are there, all the stuff that's in Nassau, and then as a history nerd, we went on this little tour. And you're exactly right, GR. Miami felt more foreign than going to Guatemala. It's just crazy in Miami. I don't know how anybody lives there. It's pretty on the outside. We're on a cruise ship leaving it. It's beautiful. But, man, don't go in there. Just horrible. But, yes, Nassau had a lot of history. It was a good 3-day cruise. 4 days technically, but it was just a good cruise all around. The people aboard the Freedom of the Seas, just wonderful. Everybody, just wonderful. They're trained to be wonderful. And it was great. We loved it. Yeah, Kevin, you're exactly right. The steepness of the ladders and the steps on those battleships, it's crazy. I mean, they're not meant for convenience. They're meant for getting people up and down, and that's about it. You're supposed to be in the Navy. You're supposed to just know how to do it. So there you go. So anyways, reaching the bottom of the hour. When we come back, we've got some stuff. I came back to a tragedy, and I got to spill my this is one. I wasn't going to do a show tonight, but I came back to a bit of a tragedy, a bit of something that's kind of pissing me off. And we're going to get into it, and I'm going to tell you why we're going to get into it. And, of course, it all has to do with Gretch. Haven't had to talk about her in a long time, but we're going to talk about her. And it's also a lot to do with some of the things that I'm looking into, studying, because it's going to affect me radically in the next few weeks. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. It's Sunday Night with Alan Ray. I am your humble host, Alan Ray. Still not getting myself worked up, though. I'm still mellow from vacation. But there's a storm coming. Can't be mellow for too long. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
How time flies when you're having fun, right? It is Sunday Night with Alan Ray. I am your humble host, Alan Ray. Welcome back to the show. We're not really going anywhere tonight, are we? We're just kind of spinning around in circles, talking about vacation, talking about CB radios. As much, I'm going to have a CB radio on hand just going forward. I can't see myself not having one just in case. I have one out in my garage too, and if my wife wants to get a hold of me, she can just yell into that. But it made me really appreciate ham radio. I love being a ham radio operator, except right now. It looks like we're going through another weird solar storm. I was wondering why some things weren't working out very well. And I went on solarham.com. And it says, we got problems. It's starting to ease up now. It looks like 15 and 17 meters are doing all right. Of course, 10 meters and 12 meters are going to go downhill because it's nighttime. But it looks like 80 all the way up through 15 are coming back now that it's night, now that we're not facing the sun. But my gosh, a little while ago, man, there was nothing. I mean, I was having problems. I went to Monroe Hamfest, okay? Monroe, Michigan's just straight east of me, like 27 miles straight east of me. And they got a big swap meet, ham radio swap meet. A lot of my friends are there. A lot of my friends show up And so I'm like, I'm just going to go. Going to go hang out with people, see what's going on, see who's doing what. And I picked up a few trinkets. One of them is a Radio Shack, what is this thing? A PR 197, PRO 197 trunking scanner. And, of course, it didn't come with anything, but it's about a $680 brand, new. I got it for $100. Of course, I got it from $100 from my friend Adam. Yeah, he's a good guy. Adam and I, and then a couple others, he's Fulton County Radio Club, and they're good people down there. I've talked about them before, but I'll say it again, throw a shout out to them. And I think $120 is what I paid for it. He wanted more than that, and I was like, hey man, at least give me enough to get a cup of coffee on the way home. And he had mercy on me. So I've got it programmed, but I wasn't getting a whole lot of anything. I'm like, why not? When I first tuned it up, it was good. And I realized that we're going through a major solar storm. I was like, oh, okay. All right. Okay. We'll see what happens tomorrow morning when I turn it on. So the solar storm going on, heat wave rolling in. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, beautiful afternoon in the low 70s. Everybody was in a great mood. And just after about noon, things started heating up. And by the end of the evening, before I came in here, it was in the 90s outside. And it's cooling down now because it's getting to be nighttime. But we're going into the next week of very, very severe warm weather. So take precautions, people. And GR, he's been in one of our chat rooms talking about he's doing a church camp. And, how do I keep these kids cool? Do some nighttime swimming, I guess. No, swamp coolers. If you can't afford an air conditioning, but you have a fan, get, cold water, ice water, whatever, put in front of the fan and blow it right on you. It'll make you feel better. I used to do that all the time as a kid. Wet towels, put around your head, whatever. Stay cool. Stay in the shade. Don't go out in the direct sunlight unless you have to, and only do it for short periods of time. Now, I'm one of these crazy people. Heat used to not affect me. I go out and mow grass, work in the garden, whatever. After you hit 55, that stuff starts mattering. It really does. And that leads me to my next story. My first story, I guess. I've been babbling on this whole show. Sorry, not sorry. It's my show. I'm going to do whatever I want to. And GR, the ARRL.org Hamfest and conventions. You can find a lot of Hamfests in your area. And it's more than ham radio equipment when you go to those Hamfests. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of old shortwave radios and regular radios. There's people out there that are selling guitars and amps. But you got to be careful. You got to pick through things and kind of really scrutinize them closely. I did get another 20-meter realistic, just 20-meter 40-watt radio because of the microphone. I've been looking for this microphone because I've got the earlier version of it, that the microphone, something fell on it, cracked it. It doesn't really work all that well. This microphone looked brand new, and I went, and it was only $20. I said, yeah, I'll take it, $20. Here you go. Put it under my arm, walked away. Because the microphone themselves, I found them a few times, and they're like, people know what they have, like $60, $70. So I picked it up and plugged it in, and it works just fine. The whole radio's pristine, so I'm just going to use that radio out in the garage. It's going to be my garage 2-meter. You got to have it. So anyways, yes. And yes, drink Gatorade, drink water, drink, electrolytes, Brawndo, drink Brawndo. In fact, pour Brawndo on your plants because it's got electrolytes. It's what plants crave. So I come home to panicked phone messages, emails, a very pissed off next door neighbor. Not at me for once. No, Bugsy doesn't get mad. Well, he does get mad at me, but he's a good friend. He's been there as long as I've been here, and our kids have grown up together. He's a lot like me, good guy. And he meets me over the fence. He goes, man, have you heard what's going on? And I was like, yeah, we just found out about it in Ohio on the way back. Those of you that know me know I am in southeastern Michigan in the middle of a cornfield, right? Well, a half mile down the road on the other side of the tree line, a place where I walk, run, exercise, bike almost every single day. They are getting ready to destroy 1,000 acres of farmland and put up a solar farm. a solar farm out here in the middle of nowhere. I'm not happy about it. Nobody's happy about it. Apparently the meeting about it was Monday. Of course, I'm still on the road, but my neighbor went to it and he spoke for me. He told me, he goes, I told him that, I was speaking on your behalf because you couldn't be there too. I was like, you know what? We think just alike. I'm glad you did. Go for it. Knock yourself out. And, they're about to destroy 1,000 acres of prime hunting land, prime land where deer are all over the place, fox, squirrels, turkey, wild turkey, pheasants, you name it. Entire ecosystems are about to go up in flames to put in these hellscapes. Now, I've been doing a little research. Of course, I'm not going to go down. I mean, we made phone calls. We tried to say, hey, you can't do this. You got to do some studies on this. This is our drain fields back here and everything. Nope. Apparently, this has been 4 years in the works. 4 years they've been planning this with this property, and they just decided to tell us a few days before they're going to decide whether they're going to let this place. Of course, they're going to decide to let this company build their solar hellscape here. And we were discussing it, and one thing that is a good point, and I researched it, and it is true. And they talk about global warming all the time, but the ecosystems that we are ruining with these giant solar farms, the nature that we're destroying. What happened to the left-wing tree huggers? The hypocrisy on this is just off the charts. Not only that, but, and I never thought of this before, but somebody else that, was in our conversation there, he said, go home and Google it. You'll find out. And it makes sense. You know how cities have these heat domes because they're all concrete? They're all, basically giant heat factories because nothing absorbs the heat. There's no plant life to absorb the heat. What do you think happens with 1,000 acres of solar panels? Now, let me go back to the beginning. And this is just of a local newspaper, Raisin Township, which is where I live. A decision on whether to approve a proposed solar energy facility in the southeastern part of Raisin Township could be made in July. Raisin Township Planning Commission members heard from residents and representatives of the company that has proposed what they call the Beecher Solar Project, but basically runs right out through my area. And about 50 residents attended. Now, why did only 50 residents attend? Because they didn't really announce it. You had to really be paying attention to catch this. And they said only 2 people spoke in favor of it and 2 people opposed it. Well, I wasn't there, or there would have been 3 opposing it. Now, the next step is to have the township's engineering consultants review the proposal to see how it conforms to the township's commercial solar energy ordinance. Planning Commission Chairman Marcus McNamara said that review should be complete in time for the Commission's July 9th meeting, which I'm going to attend. Here's the problem. These solar nightmares, hellscapes, are more damaging to the ecosystem and more damaging to what they call climate change than anything else we have. And even greenbiz.com. Now, these people are people who are pro-solar. Says the world, this was giant desert solar farms might have unintended climate consequences. This is back in 2021. They know this stuff already. And they're talking about transforming most of the Sahara Desert into a giant solar farm, which is completely stupid. Ruining the ecosystem out there. Yes, it has an ecosystem. But the problem is these panels, which are usually much darker than the ground they cover, with a vast expanse, emit a lot of heat going back up into the atmosphere. And they're already starting to suspect that they cause things like storms, tornadoes, etc. And they're talking about the Sahara Desert out here. It says if these effects were only local, they might not matter in a sparsely populated and barren desert. But the scale of the installations that would be needed to make a dent in the world's fossil energy demand would be vast, covering thousands of square kilometers. Heat re-emitted from an area this size will be redistributed by the flow of air in the atmosphere, having regional and even global effects on the climate. The very same thing they're telling you, that if your cow farts, it causes climate change. And they are practically building the exact mechanism to really promote climate change. And they're going to go out there and they're going to put these stupid, toxic, non-recyclable solar panels all over the place. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. Tear down the rainforests. Tear down all the vegetation. You don't need it anymore. We're putting up solar panels. And the more they put these things down here, the more they heat the atmosphere, the more they're going to have these horrible, terrible storms. And the more they're going to claim climate change is causing the storms. And the more they're going to put more solar panels up. This antiquated, nasty, disgusting-looking, ecosystem-ruining, idiotic, moronic energy source that should only be used very locally and very sparingly. They're trying to make it be the primary source of power. It's not meant to be that. Solar panels are only, at their maximum, under 30% efficient. Now, we're putting 1,000 acres of them right here in southeastern Michigan, where 6 months out of the year, we only may have 1 day of sunshine a week. As a rule, from November all the way up through the end of April. This is the most ridiculous, moronic thing I've ever heard. And then when they start heating up the atmosphere and they start cranking up all these storms because of these, it's the same thing as your big cities, your New Yorks, your Los Angeles, all these places. Why don't you put the solar panels there? It's already a hotbed. Just cover the parking structures with them. Cover the buildings with them. Why are you out here where there's farmland, where there's wildlife, where there's hunting, where there's fishing, tearing all that up and putting your stupid sun panels out here? They're toxic. They're non-recyclable. What are you going to do in 10 years? And these things only have a lifespan of 10 to 12 years. Then you're going to have to replace them. What are you going to do with them? I want to know. And I am going to be hammering this problem. Not to mention the fact that I am taking all kinds of tests, sound creation up there now before they put it in. Because if I get any static at all off of this solar nightmare that's going in a half mile away, I'm reporting it to the FCC. I'm going to report it every day, sometimes every hour, every day. Because they have to silence it if I report it, because I am a radio operator and the FCC's on my side. And they will have to spend millions finding the one little frequency that's going through my equipment from their solar nightmare. I'm going to cause trouble. Not even kidding. I'm going to cause as much trouble as I can. My neighbor is going to cause trouble. We're going to go down every legal avenue we can. And if we so much as suspect that they've pissed on the side of the road during one of their lunch breaks, we're going to call the EPA every single time. I walk through there every day. I will monitor that. I'm going to be an absolute Karen for the whole process because I don't want it. It's stupid. Solar farms are dumb. They're the most moronic thing you've ever seen in your life. I can only think of one benefit of having that a half mile away. If the proverbial doo-doo hits the fan, I'm going to make sure I've got a half mile of wire on hand. So I'm going to tap into it and power my house while everybody else starves, while everybody else freezes. That's about the only thing. I'm going to do the whole the Detroit jumper cable trick. When they don't pay their bill, get it shut off. They climb up a ladder and just hook on jumper cables to the power. Most of them get fried doing it, but I'll take that chance. So yeah, we're about ready to destroy nature to save the climate. And, of course, here's the thing, and this is what the Raisin Township supervisor admitted. He says, look, they're giving us an amount of money, $400,000, which is nothing really, to let us do that. If we tell them no, the state of Michigan can step in and just say you're doing it anyways. Because I've said this on this show before. When we lost the House, when the moronic GOP in the state of Michigan sat back and floundered around like a bunch of dead fish and let them bring on this Michigan Constitution change that said they're going to get a, quote, fair and balanced panel to redistrict everything, which wasn't fair, wasn't balanced, and they redistricted it so there will never, ever, ever be a Republican House or Senate in this state again, ever. They made darn sure of it. Unless something very tragic and traumatic happens and pisses off all the Democrats and they just refuse to vote. And then we can just take it back out of there. I don't know. But that's why Michigan is now a blue state. 100% blue state, because they redistrict everything and made sure that there will never be a red House or red Senate again. This is why you have what you have. So one of the first things they did after that was they passed this law that basically said counties, townships no longer have rights to question the state. If the state doesn't like what the township or the county is doing, they can just say, nope, you're going to do it anyways. Because they knew this was coming. They knew all of this was coming. So they passed this law. So now here in the state of Michigan, Queen Gretch can throw her scepter down and say, no, we're going to do it in spite of your wishes. Because she knows most of this state is conservatives. The only real pockets of progressive socialists are in Detroit, Kalamazoo, Lansing, and Grand Rapids. Most of everything else is conservative. Everybody out here in the wilderness and the farmlands, we don't want this crap. They made it. She made it. The Democrats in this city or state made it where that doesn't matter. Our input is no longer concern of theirs. They're going to do it anyways. And they also passed a law that said they don't have to tell us when they're doing something. They can pull something like this out of their hind ends and just throw it out there, and we just have to deal with it. So what do? Of course, my property value is shot. It's done. I mean, I'll never be able to sell this house. I'm waiting for them to come through and say, hey, we'll buy it, put more solar panels up. Say, yeah, $2 million. It's yours, $2 million. And then I'll move out of the state. Move to Texas. I'm there. I should go there anyway. So anyways, that's what I'm going through. And if they pass this, if they approve it, which they've all but approved it, this all starts in less than a year. They'll break ground next year. So it's going to go downhill from there. We're at an impasse. And like I said, there's good and bad. I won't be able to see it from here because there's nothing but trees, and I'll plant more trees. I'll plant trees all over the place, so I don't even have to look at that hellscape going on. Thinking about buying wrist rockets, so I could just I don't know. Can I fire something a half mile away? But no, not really. I wouldn't do that. But I will be praying for hailstorms. I'll be hoping that their heating of the atmosphere will bring on giant hailstorms and just smash these things to bits. I'll laugh. I'll sit out there with the news channel. I'll be that toothless old guy just laughing like a maniac. We don't want your crap. We don't want your solar hellscapes. We don't want your giant wind fans you have all through up north. You go up to the middle of the state, it looks like crap. It looks nasty. How did these tree-hugging hippies have kids that were so willing to just decimate the land? How did that happen? How did the left go from, every single little bug is sacred, to guess what? We're going to mow down 100,000 acres of prime land, destroy all the wildlife, destroy 200,000-year-old trees, and we're going to put up these giant sun panels and only last 10 to 12 years. How did it come to this? Oh, we got drones out here, Commando. We definitely have drones out here that are going to be taking pictures. And I'm going to be inspecting it. Like I said, I run all around through there. I'm going to be inspecting every square inch of it to make sure anything I see that doesn't look right, I'm reporting. I'm going to make these people hate me. I'm going to make these people hate me with a passion. I'm going to make these people wake up every single morning with a knot in the pit of their stomach, thinking, oh my God, what is that old man going to do today? That's my attitude towards this. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm going to whoop some butt. Anyway, so that's my rant. I'm over it. I'm not really over it. It's just, the war is just beginning. Winter is coming. And, you know, just I think about this whole thing. I'm looking at the election coming up in November with dread. I don't think, no matter how it goes, I don't think things are going to go well. No matter who wins the presidency. So you think this through with me. We are on the verge of World War III. Right now, we have Russian warships around Cuba. We have U.S. attack subs and Canadian warships heading towards Cuba, docked close to Cuba. We haven't been this close to World War III since JFK was president. We haven't had this much of an issue, this close to being all-out war with Russia since the 60s. The Biden administration has literally set us back to the 60s. This man is a moron. He's a moron, and I can see some things happen. Number one, if he stays in president, they're going to pull something. You got to believe. They're already trying to pull. That's why they want Donald Trump in prison. Because if he wins, he's got problems right off the bat. They're going to be jumping all over him saying, well, he's got to resign because he's a criminal, blah, 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 even though they made up all of the things to charge him on. But if Biden wins this election, we're on the exact same trajectory that we're on right now. Yes.
Doom!
Exactly. Mike, you have a great night. I know you got to cut out, man. It's past your bedtime. Old people. But anyways, we're on the same trajectory. And it's not going well. As much as the left tries to prop him up, he's not going to last. He's not going to be around in 4 years. He's not going to last this next term. He's either going to completely lose it mentally or he's just going to go. He's old. He's going to die. If Trump wins, Lord have mercy. It's going to be right back to 2020 again. There's going to be riots. There's going to be buildings burning. And you better believe the Nancy Pelosi's and the Clintons and the left-wing royalty establishment, they're going to be making deals behind our backs with the Russians to attack us. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah, that's just a crazy conspiracy theory. I'll admit it. But it wouldn't surprise me if Hillary Clinton sold uranium to the Russians. Nobody seems to care. We didn't even have problems with the Russians the 4 years Trump was in office. And screw all of you for making me defend him. We had no problems at all. They were afraid of him. And that's good. I like that. They were afraid of Reagan. He was a crazy cowboy. He's going to start World War III. They just kept to themselves and said, oh my gosh, ignore him. Don't even start anything. Well, that's what we need. But the problem we're having right now is Biden will keep us on the same trajectory. We're on the verge of World War III. Trump's crazed rhetoric might backfire. It might backfire against us. Putin might say, you know what? I've had enough of this dude. I'm going to call his bluff and start lobbing nukes at us. Not to mention the fact, like I said, Antifa is going to make a resurgence. All these left-wing nut jobs, these extremists, are going to make a resurgence, and neighborhoods are going to burn. Everything's going to burn. It's all coordinated. It's all done by the higher levels of the left, the Bill Gates, the Soroses. Who are those crazy people that own the Hilton hotels? All of them. Big money. And they're the people funding all of the civil uprising. What do you think is going to happen if Trump wins? And they decide that, they're going to try to do everything they can to make him step down. everything they can. See, they want to slam the door. They don't just want to be in power. They want to slam the door on political opposition. I wrote about this back in the Hardcore Patriot blog during the Obama administration, that they were going to do their best to outlaw conservatism, hands down. They don't want it. It makes too much sense to people who actually think, to have small governments, to be more free, to take Washington, D.C. down to about a quarter of its size and return power to individual states. They don't want any of that. They want 100% complete control. And the Obama administration, if you remember right, started the entire right-wing extremists. These patriots are no good. These patriots need to go. Of course, he's a communist. He doesn't want you to be conservative. He wants you to worship the state. He's a communist. The people on his election campaign were communists and socialists. You can do the legwork. It's right out there. You can see it. And, of course, we all know that he's probably, there's a really good chance that he's still the one running the country. He's just got his hand up Joe Biden's butt, making his mouth move. Biden's gone. He's shot. His head's gone. I don't care what anybody says. The left tries to cover it up. The dude is just shot. He's done. He doesn't have a brain. He trips over his own zipper. So whoever's pulling the strings, controlling him, which I suspect is right out of the Obama playbook, they're communists and socialists. These are the extremists of the extreme left. And they are calling anybody that thinks the Constitution's a really good idea, the Bill of Rights is a good idea, you're extremist if you think this way, and they want to outlaw you. I was right. When I wrote that back in 2018, earlier than that, whenever Obama was president, I don't know, I'm getting old and feeble. When I wrote that, I was right. I could feel it back then. They want you outlawed. Don't just think that you're going to have your guy, your candidate, go to Washington, D.C. and take power back. No, they're going to be a token. They're going to exist at the behest, at the mercy of the left. And if they get out of line, if they make waves, the left is going to attack them, attack their territory, attack them personally, roll out things, whether they're true or not, to make them look horrible so they will not get elected again. These people want you outlawed so they can stay in power indefinitely. And they're making laws and they're taking steps day after day after day to prove that, to make that happen. Why do you think they detest the Supreme Court in its current state? That was not supposed to happen. Trump was not supposed to happen. And Trump did happen, and him leaning the Supreme Court back to the Constitution was definitely not supposed to happen. And this is why they're freaking out right now. This is why they want that all to go away. This is why they want more people on the Supreme Court, and they're going to handpick them. That way it stays left wing, and the Constitution doesn't even come into play anymore. You see where this is going? These are extremists running the country. And if you question them, if you even question their motivations, you're the extremist. They point fingers at you and they screech and yell, "Extremists!" All the while taking things right out of the CCP handbook. GR's out of here too, buddy. Have a good night. I know, it's late at night. It's getting past my bedtime too. And I think I'm going to shut it down too, guys. It's been a great night. Oh, look, Andrew's in the chat. Andrew, good to have you in here. Everybody have a great week. All of you dads out there, happy Father's Day. Hope you had a great day. I did. Heard from my kids. Made me smile. Made me happy. God bless us all. You know, I wouldn't live in a city, and I know they're trying to make people like me move to cities, and I won't. They have to build them solar farms right on top of my head before I even think about it. This is my last stand. They want us to move into shipping crates and eat grass and live like cattle. Not going to do it. But the best thing you can do, the thing you do the most to get under these people's skin, to make them just seethe, is to be happy, is to be successful, is to laugh at their stupidity. It'll all come around. I can already see the rebellion happening. It's not our generation either. It's these young people growing up and looking at the left going, what are these people doing? They're idiots. It all will sway back. It might collapse before then. You don't know. But you know what? Do what you can in your community. Make friends in your community. Make connections. Grow your own food. No matter if you've got 10-foot by 10-foot space in your back crawl space, grow your own food. Do whatever you can to fight back against this. But the best thing you can do is be content and be happy in your life. It makes them seethe. It makes them crazy. They want you miserable. Because without victims, you don't need Democrats. Be successful. I'm out of here. Everybody have a great week. Keep it locked on KLRN Radio all week long. We have some of the best shows on the planet. We keep adding more and more and more. And I will be back, Lord willing, next week with another Sunday Night with Alan Ray. God bless. Peace out. Later. I'm out of here.